Your voice is one of the most powerful things in the world. If a voice can change a classroom, then it can change a school. And if it can change a school, it can change the nation. And if it can change the nation, then it can change the world. Your voice can change the world, but it all starts here.
That's a video from 2013 where an almost 16-year-old high schooler named Maxwell Frost, clearly not old enough to run for public office yet, was running for class president. Now, of course, the U.S. Constitution sets minimum ages for elected federal officials. For example, to be president, you must be 35 years old. To become a senator, you have to be at least 30. That's actually the age Joe Biden was when he first took office. He was elected at 29. And to be a member of the House, you have to be at least 25 years old. You might remember the last youngest member of Congress was 25-year-old North Carolina Republican Madison Cawthorn, who will not be returning in January. Replacing him as the youngest House member is 25-year-old Maxwell Frost, Democrat of Florida, and now a long way from student government. Frost first became politically active as a 15-year-old in 2012, particularly after the Sandy Hook massacre. In the wake of the George Floyd racial justice protests, Frost quit his job as an organizer against gun violence to run for Congress. On Tuesday night, he won the Orlando-based district held by Democrat Val Demings by just over 19 points, though the vote is still coming in. And joining me now is Congressman-elect Maxwell Alejandro Frost, Democrat of Florida's 10th district. Congratulations on your victory.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me.
What did you learn by running for office? You had a contested primary and then a not as contested general election in a seat that's heavily Democratic. But you got to start sort of from somewhere. So, like, what was the most surprising thing about learning to run for office?
I'd say two things, and they both have to do with money. The first one is just how much money it takes to win these campaigns. In my primary, we raised $2 million, and we spent $2 million, right? And just learning how much time it takes for call time and fundraising and building up a program really showed me how much election reform we need so our candidates can spend more time actually speaking with voters and raising money.
Explain to people that are watching what call time is.
So call time is when you're calling donors and you're essentially pitching yourself, cold calling people.
And you've got like a sheet and a phone, right?
Exactly. And we actually did something where we used kind of organizing tactics in our fundraising, and I would sit at a table with like literally 8 friends. We'd all be calling and dialing at the same time. They would throw the phone in my face, and I would, talk to somebody when they answered, just because we wanted to make sure that the volume of calls was high, because we knew we'd have to raise a lot of money because I'm a first-time candidate, and we knew to get our message across, we needed the resources to do that.
Right, because you also have name recognition, right? I mean, you've got a district where Val Demings is the incumbent. Everyone knows who she is, but no one knows who you are.
Exactly.
You're starting at zero.
Yeah, we started at zero. I mean, our first poll had me at 3%. We ended up with 35%, winning it by 10 points. And the way that we did that was by knocking every door, but getting the money we needed to hire a good staff. We had a field team, 4 organizers and a field director. We spent a lot of money on that. And I just want to make sure we raised the money to pay a good wage, to really walk the walk right in the campaign and get our message across to everybody.
I want to ask you about walking the walk. I'm 43 years old. I've been doing in journalism and political journalism for like 20 years. And even at 43, I'm constantly asking myself, like, is this in line with my values? Yeah. And life is complicated. You make a lot of, there's a lot of stuff you have to do. Is there a lockbox somewhere, or do you have friends or people that are like, I'm going to come to you if you've strayed from the person that I know as you enter into this journey?
110%. And I've asked them to do that, right? I've said, stay with me, right? Because I need to be checked, right? And a lot of times you do need to be called in because you get into this and it's this whole other world, and you want to make sure you're staying true to who you are. And there's different ways to do that, right? I like to ground myself in art a lot and music and different things like that.
You're a drummer, is that right?
Yeah, I'm a drummer, yeah. And that really keeps me grounded, but also the people in my life and really staying one with the movement. And for me, that's what we're going to do in Congress.
But sometimes the movement's going to want things that you can't deliver, or sometimes you're going to have to tell the movement no.
Well, I think that's why, there's this whole thing of like co-governance where you're always in lockstep with the movement and they know what your thinking is, right? And I think that's the most important thing. I think it's less than people thinking, oh, they're going to agree on everything and do everything we want, but more, I'll know what he's doing, right? I'll understand the landscape.
When you say the movement, what do you mean by that?
So stakeholders, especially locally, right? Different organizations. In Orlando, we have one called Florida Rising, right? We have different organizations that do good work locally, and really always being in lockstep with them and talking about what's the plan locally, what can I do on the federal level so we can move together. Because at the end of the day, there's no politician that's going to save all of us, right? This is a movement. This is all of us working together, organizers, organizations, our leaders, artists, everybody, right? And for me, it's just important that we're always in communication.
You have orientation coming up soon?
Yeah.
What's that look like?
So this weekend, on Sunday, we have a Congressional Progressive Caucus orientation, which I'm really excited for. And then we have a week of regular orientation, Thanksgiving break, and then another week of orientation. Then we pretty much have the holidays and swearing-ins on the 3rd. It's kind of like school.
Are there people that you're going to go in, a lot of people will go in having connections through, they've been in the state legislature, so there's someone they've served with. Are there people that you view as mentors or have connections to that you're not like walking the cafeteria the first day, looking around?
Definitely. I mean, definitely a lot of members of the Progressive Caucus who helped me out a lot in the primary, and I have a special place in my heart for people who helped me out in the primary because it was 10 people ran in that. And so a lot of different members from, Jamie Raskin, Pramila Jayapal, different folks like that. And so excited to go in. I also have a lot of my freshman colleagues going in with me that I'm really excited to serve with, people like Greg Casar and Deli Ramirez, and just a lot of great people I'm excited to serve with and be in, fellowship with as we get into this.
Well, it's great to meet you. I've heard a lot about you. Congratulations on being the new youngest member. Maxwell Alejandro Frost from Florida. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.